The security advisory issued yesterday by the U.S. government is just the tip of the iceberg as regards the concern by Western countries for their citizens living in Africa. Kenya has been the subject of adverse mentions, informed by fears that the country could go back into a spiral of violence similar to the post-election violence of 2008. Visiting students currently at the United States International University are all too aware of this. Their decision to study in Kenya was received with a considerable degree of opposition.
Obviously, there's a travel advisory, and we had been warned several times. And actually, my school in the United States advised not to come to Kenya.
A study abroad advisor didn't want us coming here. And she kept telling us, you can go to Namibia, you can go to Tanzania instead, but we're like, no, I want to go to Kenya. I've heard great experiences from other students that I know.
Only 4 American students out of the expected 15 made the choice to study in Kenya. It was presented as more of a life or death decision to study in a country that will more likely be in conflict.
The perceptions of Kenya from before I came here was that it was going to be unsafe, that since there was a travel advisory, there was going to be either violence breaking out or there's going to be a lot of crime. But that's the Western perception of Kenya or really any other African country.
See, like my mom, she worries about me, and she's been keeping in tabs because everything she reads in the social media back in the States, I mean, is all negative. But really, I mean, there's no reason to be worrying.
And the biased reports he is talking about may include one by a CNN correspondent whose report that Kenya was gearing up for a repeat of 2007-2008 saw her receive quite the bashing on social media. But then such stories are what sell, especially when it comes to Africa. But then these media heavyweights fail to give them basic information, exposing their ignorance on global issues.
Some people confuse Africa as a country instead of a continent, so that's a problem for one.
Well, and that is not all.
When I first came to Kenya, I actually didn't think it would be city-wise as close to the United States as I came from a big city, and actually, I mean, they're pretty similar in traits, and I didn't think it was going to be as westernized.
And usually what people think is that Kenya or Africa in general is rampant with diseases. Everyone is at war with each other. It's very unsafe. It's not developed. I was asked if I was going to be living in huts.
Despite the security advisory, Alicia and Tyler have disregarded the emergency guidelines, as what was told to them when they boarded a plane to Kenya remains as far-fetched as the concerns raised by the embassy yesterday.
Being in Kenya, I've never actually felt physically harmed or worried for any part of my safety.
I think the travel advisory was a little unnecessary because I know that it hurts the Kenyan economy, especially tourism.
It seems you have to be in Kenya to experience Kenya, and it is for this reason that the American government seems more worried than the Americans actually residing in Kenya. Waweru Mwangi for JSO at 7.